Hey everybody, it's blog number 4. I skipped a day, and maybe I skipped two, because I didn't really have anything to say. But I'm really enjoying this time out here in Wyoming. The U Cross Foundation is a wonderful place. Uh, I've learned a lot about myself, even just everybody says, "Oh well, you got the time. What are you going to do with it?" But then you have to, you know, commit to doing something. So I had a little schedule of what I'm going to do each day. Uh, it's a lot to do, because I'm doing organizing my hard drives so that I can do another project. Then I'm also working on music for two people's records that I'm producing, and then also one of my own records. So it's a lot. You just want to stay focused, which is hard. But if anything I've learned so far in this week is I've learned how to manage my time. I think I really have. I've learned how to get the most out of the day. I've been pretty much getting up at 6 in the morning and working straight through till like 7, and then I'll chill, watch a movie or whatever. But it's great not having a TV. You know, it's great just being here away from it. It's great with my cell phone not working completely. Every once in a while, I have spotty reception. But anyway, I'm having a good time out here at UCross. I've met some great people. I went out to what they call a hootenanny uh, 2 nights ago. It was interesting, and it was great to see the people. It was just a jam session, what we would call a jam session, but just a bunch of fiddle players, and it was really nice. They were doing what they do. Uh, and it was this one little girl who played the violin, who was amazing, and she did this whole piece. And this other woman came up and wanted to sing the same piece, but couldn't sing it in that key. And the girl had to be 10, maybe 11. And so the woman started in another key, and it was so great to see this little 11-year-old just go whoop and play it in a different key. So shout out to whoever she was. Great, great, good time and great musician. Hanging out there with all the other artists that went. So my blog or post today, my comments. Wow. I woke up this morning and I thought, how can I share this? Because it's something I've been thinking about lately. And I'm going to work on it some more, but I'll give you the beginning of it. Basically, it's about, are you owning or renting? And I'm not necessarily talking about property, or cars, but I'm talking about, are you owning or renting your own stuff? The things that make you you. And I think that's what we all struggle with in life. We rent, most of us rent our stuff. We rent things that we do. And what I mean by that is, when you know there's something that you need to work on in your life, and those things pop up, maybe in an argument or maybe in a discussion, you know, with someone else, and you say, oh, well, that's not me. That's easy. Just because you're renting it. You haven't owned it. You haven't owned that this is how you are and that you're a work in progress. And it's really easy to rent. It's really easy to rent. You can rent for the rest of your life. We all got that friend that doesn't realize that they talk too much. They're renting, because when you tell them, yo, man, you're talking too much and blah, 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 or you might want to check this out, and then they oh, that's not me. I'm not like that. Everybody around me need to change. Well, you're still renting. And my goal in life is to start owning my own stuff. So I'm trying. Every day I try to own something else, that I do. I like, for example, I know that sometimes in conversations I can tend to cut people off. Yes, 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 everybody knows me. But the reason I do that sometimes is because I struggle. I know why I do it, but I struggle talking sometimes when I'm talking to someone and then they respond to me based on something that has nothing to do with what I just said. And there's a great book, I think it's called The Art of Conversation. And it basically talks about if you're thinking about what you're going to say while I'm talking, then you're really not paying attention to what I'm saying. So then when you end up saying something, it has nothing to do with what I just said. So I'm struggling with the part dealing with that most people don't listen well. That's just the straight up truth. And you know, my son also read this other book and was like, if you have to say you're not listening to me, then you're really not getting your point across, which I understand. I understand. So I don't know, I'm trying to get my point across more, but I'm owning that. I'm owning that. You know, but I do know that it's possible. I have a good friend, David Gibson. I put him out there. Great trombonist, good friend. We have conversations and we don't agree on everything, but we have conversations because he listens and then I listen. So it's possible. It's possible. But first I had to own how I am in most conversations to be able to get to that other level. And that's a work in progress, you know, and I like owning my shit. I was trying not to cuss, sorry. I like owning my stuff. I like really owning my stuff. So like that, I was trying not to cuss in these posts. So I'm owning that. This is something I'm working on. This is something I'm doing. You know, now if someone came up to me and said, Orrin, you cuss too much in your post, and then I become defensive, then I'm still renting it. I'm still renting the fact that I'm cussing. So I hope this makes sense because I'm still working on it in my head. It's a work in progress. But I urge you all to start owning your stuff because the minute you start owning your stuff is the minute it will grow. The minute you own, when we own our house, I mean, hypothetically, well, we do, but now I'm just saying something else. We own, well, the bank owns it until we finish paying the mortgage. And that's another part of it. Yeah, while you're owning your stuff, you still got to pay on it until you completely own it. And that's my goal, to completely own my stuff. You know, own who I am and work on it. You know, once you own it, going back to what I was going to just say, then you can start to plant seeds. You can plant a garden. You can paint it. You can change it up. You can do whatever you want to it and not be worried about it because you have taken ownership of that, of your things. So as the day goes on, the week goes on, the month goes on, and you are in situations where they might be a little tricky or sticky, keep that in mind. You know, am I renting the negative things about me or even the positive things about me? Or do I own them? And then I can honestly say, you know what? I know I'm like that. A friend of mine, I was having a conversation with him, another friend of mine, and he was giving me all these reasons why he wouldn't do this one thing. It was based on his career and something. I'm not doing this because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this. And I listened, and then finally I just said, man, you just scared. And he said, yeah, I am. And that was great because you had all these other things, but you owned it. Yes, I'm afraid. All right. Yes, I'm scared. I have owned it. Then you can move on and you're not so defensive about when other people bring those things up to you. I hope I wasn't rambling because I didn't want this to be too long. But as this holiday season approaches and you sit down with a bunch of different people, you have family dinners or whatever happens, you're going to be presented with a bunch of different conversations with new people, conversations with that cousin that you don't really get along with or that uncle that you don't really get along with. Whatever, you're going to be, or aunt or whatever, you're going to be presented with situations that aren't really comfortable. But as you're presented with these situations this year, own your stuff, and then it will make it possible, more possible, if that's whatever, for you to accept other people's things. If you're like, okay, this is how I am, and this is how I am, and how it makes this other person react, you know, you might have a better chance of accepting them because you've owned your own stuff. It's a work in progress. It ain't going to happen tomorrow, but we're all working on ownership. Have a great day. I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head. So if it didn't, you know, comment on it on YouTube, subscribe, and say, well, this is what I think you meant. I don't care. You know, it's called a conversation.